So I'm back in my hotel room, and I just finished up at ChoralFest USA, which was at Symphony Space in the Upper West Side, and it was an incredible afternoon and evening. It was wonderful. So I just want to talk a little bit about it. Why not? There's a bunch of groups that performed, and I want to give them props because they were incredible. I got in at the very tail end of the JFK High School, John F. Kennedy High School Vocal Jazz Quartet. They were pretty good. I just heard the very, very end of it. So it was a quartet. It was 4 kids, and they were really, really good. And the next group that came on that I heard in its entirety was the New York Bulgarian Women's Choir, and they had traditional costumes on, Bulgarian traditional costumes, and they sang. It was one of my favorite parts of the whole entire festival was hearing them sing, because it was folk songs, and it was done. All of them told stories, and even if you didn't know the language, which none of us did, you still could really get something out of what they were saying and what they were singing. And they sang just with such authenticity. Oh, it was incredible. And what I really like, about what I noticed about the way that the music was arranged, it seems that when it was 3-part women's voices, the middle part stayed on the same note, and the bottom part and the top part are the ones that moved around. So I thought that was kind of cool. And they really make use of, in this particular, I don't know if it was, I know they were looking at one book, I think, throughout the entire thing. So I don't know if it was a particular arranger, but they really make use of the low alto voice. It's so beautiful. After that group came Kairos, K-A-I-R-O-S, R-O-S, and it was conducted by Edward Lundergan. And a few pieces really stuck out. Craig Fryer's a tenor in Kairos, and he has a new piece called Mayflower. Right? Is that what it's called? Where is it now? Yeah, Mayflower. And I really liked that one a lot. And another one that really stuck out was James Fitzwilliam's A Rose of Sharon. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. And he was actually in the audience. I got to see him a little bit later. We were both stepping out around the same time. They did Whitaker pieces too, which I've heard before and are just gorgeous. After that, Harold Rosenbaum, who was the one that ran this whole entire thing, conducted the University at Buffalo Choir, and they sang beautiful pieces. The Silver Swan, Orlando Gibbons' Silver Swan, which is the piece the lyrics that I based my Silver Swan on, but this is the original, The Silver Swan, that Orlando Gibbons wrote, was beautiful. And a piece that really stuck out, I know my friend Shoshana might be interested in this particular piece. There's a few pieces, Shoshana, that I think you would really like a lot. But it's Charles Stanford. I don't know if he's a living composer. It's called The Bluebird. Based on what I remember of how it goes, I think it sounds like it's a modern piece. So what a beautiful, beautiful piece. And they did some Britten, which I've heard before too, and I loved. They did some Britten pieces, 5 flower songs, To Daffodils, The Succession of the 4 Sweet Months, Marsh Flowers, The Evening Primrose, and Ballad of Green Broom. I don't think I've ever sung them before, but I've definitely heard them before, and they were great. Then we moved on to, what was next? I had to step out for the Riverside Church Inspirational Choir. I had to eat something. And so that was at 6, and then at 6:30, C4 came on. C4 is the Choral Composer-Conductor Collective, and they've been featured more and more, like on ICDA in different places. And the more I hear them, the more I really like the group. I mean, I love the fact that they feature a lot of new music, but also it just seems to be a great, atmosphere around the group or in the group. So Casey Rule wrote a piece called Invictus, which has a lot of energy. It's a great piece. I really liked their programming a lot. It was very interesting. Karen Siegel is a member of the choir, and she actually wrote a piece called Suspicious Persons, which was really cool. I really liked that one too. And Stephen Paulus, oh my god, Stephen Paulus's piece. I don't think I can pronounce it. Let me see. Where is it? Stephen Paulus's piece. Silo, dicen, digan, from Poemas de Amor. Probably butchered that. Oh, the harmonies and the progressions are just lush. They're just Stephen Paulus's sound. I heard Stephen Paulus give some sessions. He and Alex Shapiro teamed up with a lawyer. I'm forgetting the lawyer's name. I always forget his name. But they did with ASCAP. They did some composer sessions, and so I got to know him that way, but I never heard his music before. This one just blew my mind. It's just so beautiful. I wrote down succulent chords. Succulent chords. And then, the next one, Standing Still at Dusk by Nicholas Rich. Shoshana, this is the one I wanted to tell you about, because it's based on a haiku. It's really neat what Nick does. Nick? I don't know. I don't know him. But what he does, to create the stillness at dusk and the different sounds. In fact, at one point I felt like I was like when you're driving in a car and sounds come, like if you have the windows open and it's dusk and it's getting dark and everything, and you hear like crickets, as you're driving by, and things passing by and everything, and cicadas, I think they're called, and so that kind of reminded me of that. But it just, the simmering sounds that he created was just really cool. Out of everything that I heard tonight, and I was inspired by a lot, but that one in particular, that piece, Standing Still at Dusk by Nicholas Rich, really inspired me a lot and gave me, what did I write down? I said it unlocked the musical creativity in me as I was listening to it. So thank you, Nicholas. Yeah, so that was really, C4 was really a highlight for me. Voices of Gotham wasn't there. The next group that came on was Canticum Novum singers, the Canticum Novum singers, and they sang Bach. And I'll tell you, oh my God, the Bach was beautiful. It was beautiful, listening to a good choir sing Bach live, in person, is just such, especially, I posted about this before, like after about 15 minutes, it almost seemed like they went into the next gear. You know what I mean? Like when you sing Bach, I guess, if you really, really understand it and really know how to phrase it and everything, all the parts start gelling, and blending the phrasing, and like they're shaping each other, the different parts, and I just felt so uninhibited, and it felt so simple and easy and effortless. It was gorgeous. Then we went to the New York Virtuoso Choir. Again, that's conducted by Harold Rosenbaum. And let's see, what did I write down about the New York Virtuoso Choir? They did a bunch of pieces that were part of their commission for young composers, and there was some really neat stuff. I was very impressed with the pieces. Really fantastic stuff with a lot of depth. Two Yeats Songs by Will Cooper. I like that a lot. How Small a... Oh boy, I can't read my own handwriting, but I want to get these right, because these were really good. How Small a Part of Time by Eric Nathan. And I can't remember exactly the story about how he came up with the words, but he actually created the words, and it was really interesting. If you ever get a chance to check that out. I don't know if these are published yet. The next piece was called Nakoniku by Emily Coe. Again, a really neat story behind it, and I'm not going to retell it because I'll get it wrong. You know, I couldn't copy it down, and there was so much to take in this whole entire festival that I don't want to say, I don't want to get the story wrong. The next piece that they sang was De Pieta by Alexander Lieberman. And what did I write down about that? Because I was wowed by that one. Rich chords and progressions. So keep a lookout for that one. It's actually, I think I pronounced it wrong. It's, where is it? De Poeta, Depoeta, by Alexander Lieberman. Yeah, keep an eye on that composer. And then there was one other piece that wasn't in the bulletin. I believe they said the name was by Elizabeth Kelly, and I really enjoyed that one too. Again, these are all young composers, and you know, really good stuff. Really good stuff. And then the final show-stopping group, conducted by Jana Ballard, was the LaGuardia High School Women's Choir, and such a beautiful experience, like seeing all these young women up there singing. There must have been 100 up there, singing just so beautifully. Jana, I told her afterwards, I said her programming is really, really good. On her program was Cantante Domino by was it Lithuanian composer? No, it wasn't Lithuanian. I don't have the name of the country down, but it was Miškinis is the last name. And then the 23rd Psalm by Franz Schubert. And then Joan Zimko's The Roses was really, I like that piece a lot. Mata de Anima Sola. Oh, that was the Alberto Grau piece. Oh, that is a fantastic piece. Let me say that one again, because this is a woman's chorale piece. I don't know if they have it for mixed voices, but it's Mata de Anima Sola. The rhythms and the harmonies, it's just, you just want to dance, you know? It's a really great piece. And then the next one after that was, well, I'm going to butcher the name, and I don't really remember it very well, but I'll go on to Gwyneth Walker's I Thank You, God. Gwyneth Walker's I Thank You, God, another piece that is just beautiful. It's the piano opens, like the introduction, the introduction is really great, you know. She really wrote a fantastic piano part. And the chords and everything, Gwyneth Walker is really a composer. I've actually done one of her pieces too with Long Island Voices, and I just really am impressed with, you know, with what I hear. It really does leave an impression on me. The Dawsons' Ain't It That Good News is a fantastic piece. A lot of people know that one, and they really sang it beautifully. And then, whoa, you know, they sang Bridge Over Troubled Water, which was just so, like, the soloists that they had, you know, were very talented and very music